I'm going to be showing you all some tips and tricks on how to flip in PokeMMO. This is, by far, the best moneymaker in the game, but takes a lot of time and practice to learn. I've had thousands of hours flipping, and I can say that if you're good enough, you can make upwards of 3 million yen per hour. I have examples of this all over my YouTube channel that you can check out, but today's video will be more of a guide on how to get started. A lot of players out there are scared to get into flipping because you risk your hard-earned money, but if you're willing to put in the effort, you will succeed. Flipping in PokeMMO is literally just buying a Pokemon for low and relisting it for higher. Players will also refer to this as sniping, but I usually just say flipping or merching in my videos because it's easier to understand what I'm talking about. There's a constant flow of Pokemon going up for sale, meaning that there's always opportunity for people to buy something for a profit. There's people out there who like to say that this is immoral because you're taking advantage of new players. But most of the flips that you'll actually make are people intentionally underlisting their Pokemon because they just want to get rid of them. Flipping is basically a required thing in this economy because players like me provide liquidity to someone who wants to get rid of all their stuff. That's why this will always be the best moneymaker in the game and why it's worth learning. The first thing I'll go over is how to position your GTL and then set yourself up to be able to flip. Personally, I like to have it slightly off to the right of my screen so the listings are like directly in front of my face. This makes it a lot easier for my eyes to dart around when I'm reading the IVs. Speaking of which, this is the best filter in my opinion for flipping. Okay, and now the filter that I use for GTL is just this. You put all 31s in these stats, and then you put required IV matches. You set this to 1. Then you search, and this will give you every single Pokemon that has a 31 IV that goes up on the GTL. This filters out so many trash listings and just makes it so much easier to look at. It's really good for learning. The 31 IV filter takes away a lot of the really trash Pokemon that go up. The only things that you're really potentially missing out on when you're using this filter is alpha starter snipes, because those weren't always guaranteed to have a 31, and sometimes people who come back to the game after that event, they put them up for like the base monster price. Or you'll miss out on old Pokemon snipes, so like think about shinies that didn't have a guaranteed 31 yet. Both of these instances, they're really, really rare, they don't happen that often, so I really don't think it matters that much. I think for how well it organizes the GTL, it's just really good to use this, especially if you're a beginner. The 31 filter will also help you memorize the prices better, since you're only seeing valuable Pokemon go up for sale. The speed at which you refresh highly depends on what your ping is. In my opinion, higher ping players, they should refresh at a slower rate, because this lowers the chance of getting an infinite loading glitch when something good goes up. If you have better ping though, you can really refresh at whatever rate you want, and I think it's better to refresh really, really fast. That way you get the jump on anything that goes up. Good ping definitely does give you a slight advantage. However, reading comprehension, knowledge, and reaction time, that's the stuff that really matters. One of the best flippers in the world, Glacial, who is someone that I made an entire video about because of just how much this dude made off the GTL. He plays on EU ping, which is notoriously really, really bad in this game. Basically, the only players who have it extremely rough, from my understanding, is the AU player base, which it's like 300 constantly. Like it's borderline unplayable from what some of them have told me. If you're from other parts of the world, please let me know what your ping is like in the comments. I'm really curious about like PokeMMO's server, I guess, hotspots. If you're from the Toronto, Canada area, you're going to be like a flipping god in this game. If you're like anywhere in that sort of like kind of northeastern part of the United States, Toronto, Canada, the ping in that area can be as low as 20. I have to mention as well that this video is not a pricing guide. That's why it's so hard to make a guide about GTL flipping. You have to do your own research and practice to find out what things go for. It'll come naturally as you put hours into flipping. Prices fluctuate all the time, and there's exceptions to every single rule. I'll try to lay out some decent beginner flips though. 31 attack or speed adamant ditto, that always goes for 30k. And when players mass list their dittos, they will often underlist these. You should also look out for quote unquote noted Pokemon, which will have a stat in one of the attacks or speed, and then they'll also have like 20 plus in the defensive stats. As for competitive Pokemon flipping, a great resource is the PvP statistics that they provide you in-game. Basically, if any of the natures are on there, it's taxable. Over time, you'll learn the pricing of every good Pokemon in the game, and the natures that you'd kind of want to look out for when you're flipping are adamant, modest, timid, jolly, bold, and calm. And if the Pokemon typically is used for Trick Room and runs a spread with 0 in speed, you'll look out for brave, quiet, relaxed, and sassy. Basically, every 5x31 natured Pokemon under 500k will be worth it, but try to remember that there's exceptions to every single rule. For example, right now, 5x31 Jolly Metagross, that's only 388, when historically it would go for 700 to 800. When you're going to price check a Pokemon, personally, I like to be pretty specific on the search terms. There's a few tips I can provide, such as when you're in the menu, you can hit the first letter of each term and it'll automatically go to it. So say you're on the nature section and you hit B, it'll go straight to Brave. It's important to get really fast at price checking, since listing Pokemon is by far the most boring part about flipping, and if you take a long time on it, it can really affect your money per hour. You can always tax particles, good defenses, and also levels on Pokemon that need it specifically. So, for example, level 70 Meowth or a level 70 Breloom, that'll go for a lot more than a 30 or a 50. As for shiny flipping, you have to be super fast to get the really good flips. This is why I don't recommend for new flippers to use the shiny only filter, as sometimes it can really feel like you're waiting hours to actually get anything. I'd urge you to try and be risk adverse as well. Like, if it's an expensive Pokemon, don't sink your entire stack into it trying to just make a few mil. It's better to cycle that money on more liquid Pokemon. That being said, some stuff to keep in mind. 20s and defenses can be taxed on Pokemon. Adamant and Modest are the main natures that you'll try and get a lot of tax for as well. And special attack natures do go for higher on Chaos Egg Group Pokemon, so think about stuff like Bold or Timid. The most basic rule is to stay away from Attack Chaos and Special Attack Fields. But for some Pokemon, this doesn't apply. Special Attack Female Torkoal is worth a lot more because it actually runs that, and same with something like an Attack Female Shuppet. Basically, when you're flipping a shiny, you've got to think in your head, how will this get used? I think it's also really good to be patient on shiny flips, especially with the addition of the price lowering feature. That way you don't have to relist the same Pokemon over and over again, just tank the 25k listing fee. You don't want to let go of something for too cheap just because the right buyer hasn't shown up yet. And as you get better at flipping normal Pokemon, you'll forget about the expensive ones that you own. A concept I'd like to talk about as well is bridge Pokemon. These are female versions of shinies that are in split egg groups. The best example of this is female Cofagrigus, which goes for much higher than a female Chaos base. This is because you can cross the mineral IVs over to it when you're breeding up an expensive Pokemon. You can basically craft a Chaos comp for way cheaper using one of these, and rich players will take advantage of that. Okay, so I'm just going to try and quickly go over some other kind of expensive female Pokemon for shinies. Smeargle always has a female base price, and when you're price checking a female Pokemon and you're going to tax the species, you want to take out whichever the attack IV is that it doesn't use. So for Smeargle, it doesn't use special attack, so we're going to take away special attack IV, and it goes for about 2.7. So here's actually a decent example of something that I would actually consider maybe being a flip. This is a female Darumaka with attack IV. I mean, you could probably buy this and then put it back up for at least 2.2, in my opinion. This is because, like, this is a 3x horde, so not many, like, female ones really even come into the game, like, that often, and somebody who wants to breed up their Darmanitan, they're gonna buy this one to get the attack IV onto it. So this is a decent flip. You could probably make a few 100k on this. Let's see what else. Other Pokemon, what about Sigilif? Yeah, female Sigilif is expensive, just because this is kind of like a rare species. Doesn't really come into the game that often, even though it does come in as a horde. Obviously, for like the really rare Pokemon, you want to check by species, like Riolu, or Hitmontop. Yeah. Let's see, what else? We can talk about other bridge Pokemon, so some ones off the top of my head. We can do female Cacnea. This one is plant humanoid. And this one has really good stats, actually. And then we can do, let's see, what other good ones are there? There's Cacnea, there's Altaria. This one's really good for people that are trying to breed up their dragons, because they can cross over flying IVs onto this, and flying is a much cheaper egg group. Druddigon. This one is, I believe, Monster Dragon. And it goes for a little bit more than just regular dragon price. Oh, Scraggy. This one is, I believe it's Field Dragon. So this one, you can cross the Field IVs over to the Dragon Egg group. And then, let's do Frostlass. This one is Mineral Fairy. So you can bring over Mineral IVs onto Pokemon like Pikachu or Azumarill, like any fairy Pokemon. Bring the IVs over using like a Frostlass. So yeah, if you guys want to learn how to flip like I do in my videos, it's literally just all practice. Trust me, once you really put in the time and effort to try and like learn the prices of Pokemon, it becomes so much easier and so much fun. I hope this inspires some of you to learn. If this video helped you out, it'd mean a lot if you guys subscribed and left a like. And like always guys, take care.